My relationship with writing, I think it is one of those interesting relationships that you cannot live without. It's a passion, it's a love, and it's the most exasperating and difficult thing in the world. But I used to wonder why there was that dichotomy, because if it's something you love, shouldn't it just be always easy? And I think the answer is, having been in a personal relationship and having had children, I think the things that challenge you most, the things that force you to grow, to really experience every part of yourself, are the things that are most satisfying. I knew I wanted to write, I think fairly early on in my teens. I always loved English, I always loved books, and I wanted to write those stories and write stories, in a way, write a story that I hadn't read yet. And I think that's the impetus. When I've spoken to friends of mine who are writers, it's often they wanted to write something that they hadn't read, that they wanted to read. What inspires me to write is change. And I would say change in people, because my observation has been growing up, and I think it may be to do with having come from a fairly religious household and then moved to secular belief, from my personal relationships, from various things, I think, possibly. But I've always questioned why people think the way they think, why they feel the way they feel, why they do the things they do. And I think more and more it's opening up, but there is a tendency, especially from an Eastern background or culture, to do things that are expected of you, to do things because they are the right thing to do, but one has to question why these are the right things to do. So often when I'm inspired to write something, it's when I come up with two characters who really shouldn't be together, who really think very differently in the world, but their core values or their core ideas may very well coincide. What I really do feel is a profound influence from great writers is their ability to capture character, to move story along, to capture detail, and I think you'll always learn from that. It's like seeing great films. I can't look at a film now that I really enjoy without wondering how that shot was taken, how the music is influencing what we're feeling. There's a lot of input to it, so I think learning all of those nuts and bolts and seeing it and feeling it is a wonderful influence, and I think it's a very important influence from writing generally. Authors that I look up to are an eclectic list. I would say it's more books than just individual authors, although I put Shakespeare out there above everybody. You can't pick out one or two of that. It was a revelation to me. I learned Shakespeare when I was doing my O-level, so I guess I was about 14, 15. We did two plays, but one of them was Hamlet, and our teacher went through it line by line and literally translated that English for us. And about halfway through the play, it was as if a veil lifted and I could understand everything that I was reading. And when I was then able to study Shakespeare after that, it was just an amazing revelation. The density of the characters, the themes, the beauty of the way the words are phrased, and it was a real eye-opener for me. Other than that, I love a lot of old authors. Thomas Hardy, Henry James' Portrait of a Lady was a big influence on me, and newer authors like, I love Hemingway and Cormac McCarthy, which I didn't necessarily expect to, because I think of them as very masculine writers, but I like the leanness of that prose. I like that it's not flowery and fussy, but it puts you immediately in a time and place without being too obvious about it. It's very delicate. I chose the title of Despite the Falling Snow from that poem by Robert Graves. She tells her love while half asleep in the dark hours, and there was something about it that spoke to me of Katya. There's something about the half-whispered words, because Katya in Despite the Falling Snow is a very closed-off person. She's lost her parents very young. Emotionally, she is very, very emotional, but she doesn't know how to show it. She doesn't know how to speak it. She doesn't know how to share it. So when I read those lines, it just evoked her state of mind and her consciousness for me. And I really like the connection with snow, because snow is a big theme and almost another character in the book. I think the film of Despite the Falling Snow, I hope it will be true enough to the book that people who love the book will be happy with it. And I think it does stay mostly faithful to the book. But I think there's a lot more of the spy drama. There's a lot more action. And there are two big love stories. So there is a lot of drama going on. And I think if you like intelligent drama, if you like people being faced with immense conflicts of duty versus love, and finding out what really, really matters to them at their core, beyond politics, beyond propaganda, then I hope that it will be a movie that people will enjoy.